All right, welcome back. We are starting to wind up season 1, and we are in the harp room, woohoo, with Mr. Turpin, and we're going to talk about the rest of the year, and we're going to look back on what happened this year and the fantastic show that they put on, and I hope everyone got to see it, and if you didn't, I hope you could look it up on YouTube somewhere.
We should link it in the notes.
Oh, that would be a good idea.
I feel like that's a great idea.
I haven't found it yet, though.
Oh.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, we'll put that in the notes then.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, we don't have rapid fire this week.
We don't have rapid fire. That's unfortunate.
It is, but I didn't know what to rapid fire since we covered all those on the first
Shout
time.
out to my sister-in-law because she thought because we did rapid fire for you that you should do the same to me.
Oh.
I don't know if we actually should do that. And we don't obviously need to do it now, but just keep that in mind.
I will. We still have some student interviews to come up.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
We
Okay.
do.
So we still have to talk to some percussion players and
We
some
do.
color guard and the drum
Awesome.
majors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be great.
So, all right. So we'll just get in.
Okay.
I was going to let you do it.
Oh, because we're not rapid
Yes,
fired. I will start.
yes.
So what are your overall feelings about the Westlake show this year?
I had so much fun. I think if you ask any of the kids, and they'll probably say this when you talk to them and interview them, it was a really entertaining show. It was high energy. And so I think that carried us all the way through the season. I mean, we were still having fun rehearsing in the days leading up to state and to BOA San Antonio. It was really cool to see that energy come, not just from the kids, but from the staff. I think when we're bought into the product, it translates out into the way we teach. And then I think that energy comes back from the kids. So overall feelings, I mean, fun, energetic, really challenging, but I feel like we grew a lot through that challenge this year. And I think, I'm sure we'll talk about results and everything, but like overall, I really think this season was really successful for us in our journey as far as what we're doing and trying to, progress forward as a program.
So having watched Westlake for the last few years, the style this year was radically different than anything I've seen in the last many years.
Yeah.
There definitely were no harps on the field, but I don't think they would have been appropriate out there this year. This was very aggressive. And even in the state, when they mentioned the little drum major interview, they mentioned this was very aggressive for Westlake and y'all leaned into it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good comment. Is the plan for the future to keep with this style or to pull back or something totally different?
That's a great question. I think that we are trying to kind of cement our identity right now. And, some things that we've tossed out there is that we really want to lean into things that are modern, things that are avant-garde. And that's kind of our aesthetic, I think, that we can pull off really well. This was certainly, the idea of an urban jungle, a little bit more modern, a little bit more, obviously the adjective aggressive came up a couple of times. I don't know if it'll stay in that exact same vein, but I don't think we'll probably see something like a return to kind of like what we did with Nouveau. The aesthetic of that a little bit more on the beautiful side, a little more not reserved, but it certainly was, I think, a modern look and an aesthetic. I think we kind of want to stay in that vein, kind of take some of the things from this year, some of the things from that year. I still think back to Lonely People, and that was a very, very different direction than anything Westlake had ever done. I remember I wasn't teaching here at that point, but I remember watching that show and thinking, wow, that's definitely a different avenue that they're going down. And I was a big fan of that show. So I think we're going to kind of take the best maybe of all three of those and continue to kind of refine and chisel down into what is our true aesthetic. So when somebody sees Westlake, they kind of know what to expect when they see us coming onto the field. That's what we're trying to hone in on and create that identity for the marching arts community.
So thinking about the season, I think I already know the answer to this question here, but I'm going to ask, and then I'd like to really also hear the follow-up. But would you consider, first of all, this season a success? And then secondly, if you would, we're going to put you on the spot, would you tell us 5 things that you think were true successes this season?
Yeah, that's great. I definitely think it was a success. I have always been somebody in my own personal life that I don't measure success by win or lose. I think it's about the journey that the kids go on. And me in my personal life, if I'm trying to achieve a personal goal, or break a habit or something, it's about the little steps along the way rather than what's the final end result. So what we do, there can be one gold medal that's given out. And then you've got, in the case of BOA San Antonio, 70 other bands that weren't in first place. So how do you put all of that into perspective? So 5 successes or 5 things that I would consider a success. Definitely the growth of the kids as far as what we were asking them to do as performers. The demands individually, musically for sure, but I think visually, everybody on the field, including, Eve, we did a lot of trying to get them to project their character that we were trying to get them to embody up to the judges and to the box, as we call it. So I think everybody grew there. Musically as an ensemble, I think we did some things that really surprised a lot of people this year. I think back to the opener and all of the meter changes and the time signature changes and how that kind of shifted the pace of the show. I mean, we got a lot of credit for that from all of our judges throughout the season, early season into the end of the year. It was really, really daggum hard. And I think the kids rose to that challenge early on and they never questioned it. They were just like, okay, we got to do this thing. So great. What's the next thing? So I think their willingness to try things that they were very uncomfortable with at first, that's a success to me. I think as a, thinking of all the facets of the program, but us as a staff, I think in our second year all together, we had a chance to gel even more. And so our teaching styles became more cohesive and just compatible. We learned each other's little idiosyncrasies and things like that so that we could kind of navigate through that faster. And I think the pacing of that helped our rehearsals. Speaking of rehearsals, I think another big success is the way the band rehearsed got faster and more efficient this year, just because, we've all now been together for our second year. So I think the way the kids are rehearsing and the focus level that we asked of them definitely got better. And I want to give a shout out for my 5th thing. I think our leadership team this year was incredibly strong in the way that they gelled together. They took a big step forward in what we were asking of our student leaders, both with, the individual responsibilities that they have, but really working to try to hold the band more individually accountable for the level of things that we were asking them to do. So I think individual accountability through the lens of us as teachers, but especially our student leadership team, I think that was a really big success for this year.
Awesome.
Was that 5?
Congrats.
I think that was 5.
I think that was 5.
That was
yes,
very
I was
good.
counting in my head, and I believe so. Yes. What turned out to be your favorite part of the show?
Wow. Gosh, there were so many. If I had to narrow it down, I really think the musical composition of the ballad, like just the second part of the show in general, how it all was written, the pacing of it, and then we finally get to the big impact and the way it evolves into that, as the set, as we lovingly call it, the big kitty set, where we've got the leopard formed on the field and the guard is completely color immersive across the entire field with the double swing flags. Like, it just, when that moment hit and it hit right, it was just stunning. As we tell the kids, we needed to be stunning, and it really was so many times. And I think the kids really bought into that too. It was very powerful, and I think it translated really well to audience members.
Awesome. What do you feel like was the most difficult thing in the show for the kids?
Ooh, definitely the opener. Just the pace of it, the challenge musically, like I talked about a little bit earlier. There's so many meter changes, so many tempo shifts. Some of the most challenging drill was in there, a lot of the most challenging choreography. It was just really and truly almost 4 minutes of nonstop physical exertion and need for precision. So I'm glad that was the first thing that we learned. It's kind of like you jump over the tallest hurdle first, and then the rest of the race feels easier because, you've really worked to put the kids through the ringer early in the season. They're doing it in band camp in the 103-degree heat. And so by the time you're learning the closer, which was really challenging, it all of a sudden feels easier because everything that's come before it was, just as challenging, if not more so.
Yeah.
I want to insert in here, I've been asked the difference between drill and choreography. And you mentioned that they had to learn both of those in the show, in the first part. So what is the difference between drill and choreography?
That's a great question for delineation. And another term you hear a lot of time, you hear us talk about sets. So drill sets, each one of those is a specific page of drill, a formation, a series of dots or whatever you want to call them, coordinates that the kids have to learn to make the pictures form on the field. The drill, really, those are sets. The drill happens in between each set. So think of the drill as the connective tissue. So let's say page 1 of the show is a picture of a square, and then they move to a circle in page 2. Well, they have a certain number of counts to transition from square to circle. It might be 16 counts or 24. So the motion that's created by that transition is really what the drill is, if that makes any sense. Choreography is what we are asking the kids to do in addition to just marching from set to set or picture to picture. So it could be that we're asking them to play, but we want you to take your left arm and bring it up over your head and then bring it back down while you're playing your instrument and moving from picture to picture. Or they're asking to, maybe they're holding in a picture, but then we ask them to add dance movement underneath their playing.
Like a special move.
Yes.
Like a special move indeed. So that would be choreography versus the concept of drill.
Yeah, I described it to someone as drill is where you go, and choreography is how you go.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So.
Yeah, that's really, really clever. Yeah, that's a great description.
So, yeah, I had a lot of questions from my sister-in-law this weekend about different band parts and things that we've talked about. She's like, I had to Google DCI.
I mean, no pun intended. There are many moving parts
yes.
to what we do. So
yeah. And I'm like, that is Drum Corps International.
Yeah.
That's what that
y'all should do an episode on like marching band vocabulary.
Oh, we should have rapid fired vocabulary.
There we go.
Have.
Oh.
That would have been a good thing.
Yeah.
I can be your idea guy.
I'll collect all those questions and we'll do that.
Yeah.
Rapid fire vocabulary.
Okay.
What was your favorite part of this past season? Like the bus rides, the show, the football games, the contests?
I don't think it would be the football games. I don't know.
I love football games.
No, at homecoming, he was down on the field like, wind it up, wind it up.
I'll start with what my favorite part is not is having to be a meteorologist and try to predict whether or not we're going to be able to do a post game at homecoming. I would like to do that in my 3rd year. So that's my wish for next year, is not trying to have to like dodge weather. But
it feels like Avery should have been more helpful.
He was great. We never know. I'll have to implore his help for specific moments. It's a 2-pronged answer. One is, I think, seeing the growth of the kids and watching their confidence as performers grow. And so by the end of the season, like they really and truly, like they weren't worried about, am I going to get through the show? Am I going to hit my drill sets? Am I going to be able, like they were performing at a really high level. And I think that was even a higher level than they were maybe last year or the year before as far as their confidence. So that was really fun for me. When you see your students reach a point where they're not worried about, am I going to pass the test? But it's like, how high can I score on the test? That's a really gratifying place to be. So that's the teacher side of my answer. The logistical band director side of my answer is we didn't have like a million breakdowns trying to get to and from competitions this year. Getting to the first marching band competition of the year and walking up and seeing our trucks already in the parking lot as the buses were all pulling there. And it's like that breath of like relief and that sigh of like, everything's here. We're early. We have 30 minutes before we have to get off the bus, and no one's stranded on the side of Palmer Lane or, 183. Like, just having logistics work in our favor this year, that was another very favorite part of the season for me.
That's great.
And next year we'll have a new trailer. I don't know when it's finally going to arrive. It's only a year and a half late, but we will have a new trailer that's going to have some really great like hydraulic lift, and I'm super excited to get that because it's going to make logistics and our kids' lives easier.
Is that the end of Big Blue?
No, we'll still keep Big Blue because we have to have that when we go on school buses. But this will be what the tractor rig pulls. Oh. So the semi itself will be the actual trailer part of it will be brand new. It's supposed to be getting here soon. That's the best answer I could give, because we've pushed the date back now multiple times. Production it's everybody's struggling right now with parts and availability of things. And so, stuff just coming out of the production line late. But I'm hoping that we will have it by the end of this year.
That reminds me, when are the trumpets coming?
Oh, they're starting to come in. Yeah, we are really excited. We got a matched set of Bach Intermediate, and I'm trying to recall the model number off the top of my head, but BTR 411s, I think. And so I've got about 12 in my office, and we should have 13 more, match set of 25 total. So that's going to be really cool for our trumpet section next year. It's going to help with balance and blend and just the overall sonority of the trumpet section. So.
And no one yelled at my son for playing on the wrong trumpet all year.
Did that happen previously?
It happened the entire year. I yelled at him, and it didn't change. He kept playing on his Schilke because he loves that trumpet. He has a Bach, and I'm like, that's why I bought you the Bach. I bought you the Bach for marching band. What are you doing? But I love this trumpet.
You're like, yeah, it's an expensive trumpet to take
And
outside.
now it's in the shop.
Yep, there you go.
Uh-oh. Because of marching season?
Yes.
Oh.
Because you do not march with your favorite instrument unless your name is Evan.
Sorry, bud. You got called out on your podcast.
You sure did. Sorry, Evan.
He gets called out all the time. He doesn't care.
I really hate to ask this next question, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
Did you have any disappointments this season? And if so, what was the most disappointing thing of the season? If there were disappointments.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you are in a creative outlet, I think you're going to experience disappointments or setbacks. Or I think working and trying to help the kids, because we had a lot of success early on in the season. And it was, I mean, when you look at competitive placements and things like that, I think that the kids achieved at a really high level in a very competitive field. I mean, we had 4th place placements at all of the BOA shows that we went to in September and October. And then I think, if I had one pinpointed moment that was personally disappointing, because I just hurt for the kids because I know that they knew that they could do better, it would have been the UIL state prelims performance, because we had a little bit of a timing issue, a tear as we call it, like at the very beginning of the show. And it's like, oh my gosh, are they going to recover? And they did. And they had a great rest of their show. But you could tell that they were a little rattled and first time performing in the Dome in the season. And I think that got to them just a little bit. So it's hard to look at their faces just being disappointed, knowing that they didn't have the best performance that they were set up to have that day. And it's like, man, finding the words to comfort them while dealing with your own disappointment as a teacher when you put so much time and effort and energy into something. I guess if I had to pinpoint one particular moment, that would be it. But what I'm super proud of, and I can say is the 6th thing that would be a success, is the way that they bounced back. I mean, UIL was early that week. We didn't make finals. And then, they came into BOA San Antonio and had their best show of the year. And we were 2 out of finals, So a really high placement there for us, I think, was a big success. And the way that they pushed through that disappointment says a lot about their character and their drive.
I think we talked about that on the podcast where we were just chatting how it was really great that they did not have to end the year.
Yeah, right.
That would have been the worst.
That's hard. And I've been there before as a teacher, and it's, you try to get the kids to see the big picture of the overall success of the season, but sometimes it's hard. They tunnel vision into one specific moment. So I agree. I'm happy that they got to end on a high note and a really great performance that they felt great about. Like watching their faces after that prelims run in San Antonio was really, really cool to just see them come out of the tunnel. Kids were crying, tears of joy. I mean, it was just that's what you want for them, is to have one of those moments that they're going to hang on to, that feeling of elation after a performance. And it was definitely that.
Okay. Is there anything about this show that, looking back now at this point, in the semester, that you would have changed about the show?
It's funny. I think you always have things in hindsight that you say, okay, maybe that could have gone better, or we could have set the kids up to be a little bit more successful by changing this earlier or doing this, set up on the field a different way. So yeah, I could get into the nitty gritty of it and give you some very specific things. But I think overall, as a package, I wouldn't change anything. And I don't think the kids would either.
So you wouldn't have thought that maybe adding a cake to the show with the tubas coming out would have improved it at all?
Let's see, jungle themed cake.
Yes.
I mean, everybody likes cake, so
I know.
Could we serve it to the judges as a form of bribery? Is that?
I was not ready for that question.
Just thought I'd, toss it in there.
You better order yourself a match set of tubas. Because we're going to expect to see this cake with the tuba collage soon.
Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Those get a little expensive, so we might have to do some more fundraising for that. So
when I was at KU, they put in lights in the football stadium, and they had the first ever nighttime football game.
Oh, wow.
And the band gold-plated the insides of all the tubas.
Oh, my gosh. So it had that, bling effect off the field. Very cool.
That's pretty awesome.
I always thought that was so funny. I'm like, and they're not even going to be on TV. They don't really show the bands.
Now they get a little bit every now and then, but
a tiny bit.
We were hoping they would show the national anthem at basketball, but
I know.
I don't know.
But now we're not doing the SEC Georgia game,
right? So
it's not even going to be on TV now.
Oh,
that's okay. It's still going to be really fun.
Somebody has to. I need a video of this.
Oh, there will be a video.
Okay, good.
We get comp tickets. We're taking the harp class. It's their final.
The saxophone and triangle duet.
It's going to be amazing. It really, really is. Okay, so getting back to our questions.
Sorry.
The whole reason for the podcast. Have you already started planning for the show, next year's show?
It's very serendipitous that we're doing this today because we had our first design meeting earlier today. Yeah,
okay.
So Jody Rhodes was here with us, Conrad Eisenhower, who writes a lot of our choreography and body, and then Robert Sladen, who was on the podcast, was here with us today. So all the staff, we sat down, we talked about, we've already done a staff marching season debrief. Then we did one with our leadership team kids. So this was kind of our design team debrief today. Talked about things that we really liked, things that we want to see improved, different processes, ideas for, it all comes back to how can we make the kids more successful early on that will give them long-term success through the season. So talked about some things in regards to that. And then Jody, I know, is already working on ideas and concepts and music and things like that. I cannot divulge anything yet because I really don't know anything yet. She, pitched some ideas to us today, but...
Did she pitch a cake?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you if there's going to be anything baked into the show next year.
That was good. That was good.
But the cool part is she's so creative, and just even the little glimmers of ideas and aesthetics got all of us really excited about it. And I think today was more about trying to kind of nail down what do we really want our identity to be? What do we want the Westlake aesthetic to be? And we had some great conversations that kind of delved more into that than we've done so far yet since we've been together as a team. So I'm really grateful that we had the time together to do that. So I would imagine we'll probably have a show concept in the next month, and then we'll be able to, Robert will be the first one. He'll start writing music for us, and then it'll go to our percussion arrangers and then our electronic sound design. And so, yeah, the ball is rolling. It's crazy. Here we are sitting in December, 2nd, 3rd?
So we might be starting season 2 right away.
Mm-hmm. It'll happen. It may happen a little sooner.
Are you going to hook us up with Jody because I have questions?
Yeah, absolutely. She would be such a great hang, and y'all would love talking with her. And she's got so many years of experience in this.
Because I keep imagining her sitting in a bubble bath, just dreaming about marching shows.
And how apparently how she can incorporate cake into it.
That's right.
So. But what I was going to say about Jody is, she's been a band director, and then she's also, she's a judge. She's an active judge for marching arts. She does marching band competitions. She judges DCI, and she also judges WGI. So she'll be, at some of the
WGI.
shows. Winter Guard International.
All right.
Yeah. So where
that's just the color guard.
Right. That's just like what Eve is doing right now. They're going into winter season. Mm-hmm. So you've got a big tarp on a basketball gym floor, and it's just color guard that, or WGI also incorporates, there's two other facets of it. You've got color guard, you've got indoor winds, which is like a mini marching band on a tarp. And then you've also got indoor drum line. So, those are the kind of three things that WGI oversees. But she's a judge for WGI as well. So, I mean, she's seeing so many different parts of the activity between high school marching band, WGI, which is really avant-garde and kind of pushes the entire activity forward. And then she's seeing it from the DCI side of things too as a judge. So she's looking through a lot of different lenses to help us find our best version of ourselves.
Oh, wait, that's my next question. Do you think Jody would be willing to check in with us every so often to talk about where she is in the design process?
Yeah, I think certainly I'll get you guys connected with her. And, I don't want to speak for her and say she'd be willing to do a podcast episode, but I'm sure she would be open to it. She's awesome.
Maybe we can just talk and then we can just give updates.
There you go. I love that.
I thought about colors today.
Yep. I don't know. I'm curious to see what she'll say.
Okay.
I know she loves coming out, and she's going to be even more present with us, like in rehearsals and things like that, coming out to be a clinician and work with the kids next year. And I think our kids connect really well with her. And so when I'm looking at people to, have in front of our kids and give them information, there's a lot about that chemistry. And I think she understands our community, and she's now seen an evolution over several years, creating and designing, these products for us. So for her to be able to come in and work with the kids and, to be honest, make us better teachers, because she's a fabulous teacher, it's just beneficial on every single aspect that you can imagine.
So in the spring, I had told Evan, I was like, I think we're going to do a show reveal with Mr. Turpin in the spring. And he's like, oh, no, you're not. He said that you are very protective of that show reveal. So are we going to be able to talk to you in the spring and get a preview of what's going to happen?
I think you would probably have a better chance of, we could do or time a podcast to happen right around the time that we do the show reveal for the kids. And then we can kind of do
Well, I would think we would do it afterwards.
Yeah.
They should know first.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. Okay. Absolutely. Maybe that's a dual one. If we can have, me, and then if Jody wants to be there too, that'd be a great, because who better to talk about the show than the person that designs it. So
yes, especially if it has a cake. Right?
Or how many tiers of cake are we talking about here?
3.
It's specific. Okay, 3.
Did we say 3?
Well, you have to have 3 to make it really look like a cake. 2 just looks like, I don't know, like you forgot something. Like, have you ever seen a 2-tiered wedding cake?
I don't know.
No, it's always
not.
3.
Yeah. I guess I envisioned the tubas, like, since they were standing on the second one, like a third. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought that the third one would maybe pull apart and reveal them.
So clearly we need to
We have a little more work
align
to do.
Got it.
What
Okay.
we're thinking about here. Yes.
Your wants and needs and your vision for this aesthetic of cake on the field. Y'all are cracking me up.
I still think Carrie missed his chance.
I do too.
So, all right.
Okay, so I'm noticing that a lot of our next questions are all about that cake, but I've already mentioned it. So I'm sorry.
But this is an important question.
So I was trying to get Kevin on board, my husband, right?
Yeah.
About the cake. And he's telling me that no band director would ever agree to do that, because they wouldn't want the tubas to, like, any number, like 2 tubas or 3 even, to stop playing for like a minute and a half to go and like get into the, and that he felt like it would kind of mess up the show, and a band director wouldn't want that to happen. So thoughts?
I mean, we do like our bass sound on the field. So, if we had all of a sudden 14 tubas on the field, we could maybe lose a few, but we marched 7 this year. So losing 3, that's a lot of frequency that you lose.
You could just add some Barry saxes or something to keep the low sound is what I was thinking. I mean, I felt like when I was discussing it with Kevin, sorry, Kevin, I felt like he just was not trying to think outside the box, Yeah. That I just think a Barry saxophone would be amazing.
Yeah.
They can carry a lot of sound. They can't carry quite, the decibels will not be as high, but...
All right.
Fine.
I guess.
Your inner saxophone is
really,
really campaigning for these opportunities for our Barry saxophonist.
I know. So anyhow, that's what we were wondering about. We were trying to figure out and so then we thought, well, maybe we needed to have the cake at the beginning of the show rather than, because my idea actually was to have what looks like a place where the soloist would play, right?
Yeah, like
a little
stage.
stage.
Yeah.
And then it transform into the cake, which would be kind of cool.
I just realized if we had them start in the cake and they played Romeo and Juliet
At the beginning.
They could open with that boom.
That's true. See, they could open with it, and then you could have it, and then it wouldn't really be a problem.
It would just open the whole show with the tuba trio.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
I'm going to let y'all talk to Jody about show design.
I think that's a great... Well, actually, you probably don't want that to happen because you never know what you're going to end up with.
I've learned where I stay in my lane, and design is not it. Implementation, yes. Mm-hmm. Teaching, yes. Design, you don't want me in that.
I think I want to know this question because there were some bands that had a lot of tubas.
Yeah.
And so Kevin also told us that sometimes marching bands march tubas that don't play just for the visual
the
effect.
look of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that true?
I can't personally attest to anybody that I've known to do that. I'm sure people do it. Every kid that we put on the field is playing. So that's and that in my prior schools, it was the same thing. You put the kids out on the field that can play and contribute and, be set up to be successful. And, we have a varsity marching band and a JV. And so, not every single tuba player we have in the program is marching, but the ones that are out there are marching and playing. So, I don't know. I'm sure some schools do that. I don't know if as a judge it necessarily impacts. I remember one of the questions y'all asked me on the last podcast was like, does the number of people on the field have any bearing on like the success rate of the school at the competition? Mm-hmm. And I talked about, a 6A school that was like third in the state, but they had, less people on the field than anybody else, So I think as a judge, we're looking at the design and the content of the show, not necessarily as the number of people on the field, or we're looking specifically through the lens of like performance. Are they... It's achievement, what they're being asked to do. Are they achieving at that at a high level? And that's where the points should be assigned, not necessarily like, do they have 27 tubas on the field, like a college marching band,
Well, it kind of felt like the only way they could really do that is now they could do it because Glenn had said that the judges can no longer roam the whole field and listen to everybody.
In UIL, yeah, it's more of a limited space that they're allowed. In BOA, we still have field judges. There's an individual visual and an individual music judge, and they have free reign. They can go where they want to on the field. I will say, especially if they're seeing a school for the first time, they're probably not going to go run out into the middle of the drill and get right up in the drumline's face, like you might see a DCI judge, have done in the past or something like that. They're going to be more at the front, on the sides, the periphery, the back, and just kind of it's called sampling, and now I'm on the side 30-yard line and I'm watching the flutes that are out here and I'm going to comment now on what they're doing with their foot position. Should they be turned out more? It's those kinds of things for an individual judge. It's not necessarily counting the number of performers on the field, I guess.
Yeah. I was shocked because after having talked to judges and different people, I had never paid attention to this before, but there was one judge at UIL. I don't think she ever left the 35-yard line or maybe the 40. Like literally did not leave it. She stood on the edge of the field the entire day.
And so it's a little hard because you can't sample.
Right.
If you have that free reign to go across the front sideline, you want to go on both sides of the 50 and, get as much of a sampling as you can. But
yeah, at BOA, the judges were like all over the place. And I told Mark, I'm like, that judge right there has moved in this one performance more than the woman moved the entire day on Monday. It was so weird. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how can you even get a feel for what's going on? Oh, I see you trumpet. I see you flute. Okay, you look good.
Yeah. It's you want to see a judge that is willing to, put in the physical effort to really, if they have a limitation of space, if it's only you can't cross the front sideline, well, how much of both sides of the 50-yard line can you explore?
That's kind of what I would feel like as a judge. And I wondered if like people could complain about judges like they do refs.
That's a great question. Yeah. I mean, you are given the opportunity, both at BOA shows and at UIL events, to provide feedback on the judge commentary that you receive. And I take advantage of that, because, and there are times where it's, hey, I really want to say this benefited us. I would like to see more of this. Or it's like, there's discrepancy between the number that was put down and the commentary that was offered in their judge's recording. So, you have the ability to bring that up to what they call the chief judge or the contest organizer. And I think they like it when you do that, because there might be things that are happening that they wouldn't know if a director didn't bring it forward.
When you provide the feedback, then do they respond back to you in some way?
In full disclosure and credit, yes. I actually had a couple of different conversations with, Bands of America staff this year about some things that we offered as feedback. And so it makes me feel good to know that they're reading that commentary, they're reading the feedback, they are genuinely interested in making sure that the organizations, the directors, and the kids are getting the best feedback, because it's so much time and effort and energy and money and all of the things that go into this. You want to feel like you have a level playing field for everybody.
Of course. Now that marching season has ended, what are all the band students up to?
Lots of stuff. It's funny. I did an 8th grade information night at Hill Country Middle School last night, and one of the parents, an incoming 8th grade parent, asked, "So what actually do you do when marching band ends? I just don't know." And I was like, "That's a fantastic question." Go into all the things, because we have 3 concert bands. So all of those students are divided up from their spring auditions last year. So we're working on a holiday concert that'll be on December 15th. All the kids are playing some fun and challenging music.
And harp students too.
Yes, they
Nice.
are. Yeah, the harpists are with the wind ensemble on 2 pieces on our concert. We have kids that are involved. Westlake does an elaborate production of the Nutcracker with community dance programs and studios. So
the weekend of 12, 13, 14.
Come out and see it. A lot of our kids in our wind ensemble and symphonic band, the top 2 bands, they're involved, and they're the ones that are playing and being in the pit orchestra for that, and as well as all the students in the symphony and the Philharmonic in the Westlake Orchestra program. So very busy there. They are all of our color guard students have had their auditions for Winter Guard, and they've been divided into varsity and JV teams, and they're starting to stage their programs for the spring. Let's see, what else are we doing?
Jazz band.
2 jazz bands are getting ready for performances coming up. We've got the kids just did all of their local auditions to determine where they're going to be placed into ensembles for the spring. We are rolling out and getting ready to start with full orchestra, with now 3 symphony orchestras, 3 full orchestras. We're, I think, only one of 2 or 3 schools, depends on if one of them does it this year, but we'll probably one of only 3 schools that has 3 full symphony orchestras that we take to UIL concert and sight reading, which is really exciting. So there's a myriad of things.
Unless you're Josue.
And then it's a lot of work.
He's not going to sleep ever again.
He doesn't
Probably
sleep
not.
to begin with.
I know.
So yeah, this is going to just be right on par with what he does. But the kids are. It's always fun to see them kind of break out into different aspects of the program. I think they miss seeing each other all together every single day. That's what they love about marching band, is getting to be all together in one place, doing the same thing at the same time. So we talked with our leadership team. We're going to try to do some more social activities and events in the spring so they can still keep that connection, because that's really important.
More things like band coming.
There we go. Yeah.
The kids missed homecoming, and so they had band coming where they all got dressed up and came and had a fun evening.
Yeah, it's a cool little dance and event that they get to do. And so I think they're going to try and plan another, some type of social or dance or event or something like that in the spring as well. It's just some movie nights and just hangout times where they can just be together in the band hall with, different times throughout the spring.
I want to talk a little bit about the region auditions for orchestra and band, because you had a lot of kids audition for both of those. And the orchestra auditions, what kind of results did we get?
Yeah, I was really proud of the kids. We had more kids, I think, attend that audition this year. We've got a lot of kids signed up now for Region Band, which is happening in Phase 1 tomorrow, and then Phase 2 on Saturday. At Region Orchestra auditions, we had 4 students make the Region Orchestra. I think that's 2 more than we had last year, which is really great.
There's 2 things I want to say about that.
Yeah.
So that Region Orchestra audition is right on the heels of the end of marching season, like right on it. I think is it actually still during it?
It is literally the Monday. Any bands that go to Grand Nationals, they go and they get back on Sunday, and then they go to Region Orchestra auditions on Monday. So it's like a week after for everybody, essentially.
Yes. So those kids are learning all that music while they're learning the region band audition music, and while they're learning marching music
season. Yeah.
So I just want to say that's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot for those kids. They don't have to do it, but those kids voluntarily choose to do that. And I also want to say, Leander, who is our biggest competition in region, doesn't have an orchestra program.
Yeah.
They do not have an orchestra program. And I'm wondering if this might explain why their bands are so enormous.
I mean, when you have two strands of the performing arts, I guess if you want to say like band, choir, orchestra, at least on the instrumental or choral side of things, those kids choose band or choir if they're doing that in high school, or obviously theater or dance, any of those other different strands or visual arts.
But I think of all those like kids that would be like the high-end cello and viola, well, maybe not viola, but the high-end orchestral players. And, and they spend a lot of time practicing, and if you suddenly throw those kids in and say, you have to do band, suddenly you've got a lot more committed band members. Like, you only get a portion of our committed music people.
Yeah,
because the orchestra has a
like 3 ways.
And choir, a big chunk of those committed. I just wondered if, proportionally, do you see that in the band and region auditions and results? And
I mean, you also have to factor in we're a one high school town.
Yeah.
And, Leander ISD, I believe, has 6 high schools. So, and then we also have in our region Liberty Hill. I don't want to offend any of my friends. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
I don't really know who's in our region because
Lake Travis, of course. Yeah, Lake Travis, which is a one high school town. So, I mean, we won't necessarily have the numbers of people from our entire district that Leander ISD might have. But I think putting 4 kids into a wind section, of maybe 20 to 25 wind and percussionists total, I think that's a really good representation for one high school sending kids. And, we have kids that have the ability to earn area spots, and we had 3 students earn area spots at
That's great.
this round of auditions. So we'll continue on. I think we have 124 kids out of total wind and percussion. We have like 165 wind and percussionists in the program. So I mean, a big chunk of those kids are going to the region auditions this weekend.
You have 124 auditioning?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
And we really, encourage the process. It's required for the kids in the top band. The wind ensemble are expected to go and do the auditions, because going and learning that music really and truly is one of the best things that they can do to improve as a player individually. So really proud of all those kids for going through that process, because it's about the journey for them. It's, they want to make a region band, or they want to make it to area or make all state, when those numbers cut down by attrition a good bit, the higher you go in the process. Last year we had 5 all state band students. We always hope it's more than that every single year, but ultimately they come out better players on the other side, and that's the most important part of doing that process. Excited for them. This is one of my favorite times of year. I love the region audition processes, because you get to see those kids, a lot of their individual work that's going into, behind the scenes in the background, what they're putting in individually. It really pays off for some of those kids, and to watch their faces light up when the results come out, it's magical. I love it.
Okay, so as you know, we've said it in like every single podcast that we did this podcast purely for our own entertainment. It continues. And so we were really appreciative that you were totally on board from the first episode. And then Carrie signed up for the second episode. And it was funny that he was like texting, who did I agree to talk to?
I know, we sent him the questions and everything. And 2 days before, he goes, who is this?
I love it.
But it really seemed like as we were going, every week, folks were so happy to speak with us and be on the podcast and talk about all things marching band and just band in general. And so is that normal? Do you feel like that's normal for band people, just to want to talk to whomever about band?
I really do think it is normal. I mean, I come at it from the angle that you lovingly hear the term all the time, band nerds, but I'm a nerd. I do
call myself that all the time.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I wouldn't make this my career if I wasn't extremely passionate about it. And everybody you've had on the podcast, this is not just what they do for a profession, but I really feel like it's a calling. To be honest, teaching the arts, whatever it is, I mean, you get a lot of things out of it. You're not necessarily going to be rich from doing this. So if your number one goal is to, make tons and tons of money, you're probably not going to be a band director. But I see way more value in it than just a monetary side of things. So I could literally stay up and talk with my friends or talk with other colleagues about band, music, literature, marching band, all of that. It gets me excited because I know what it's done for me and the opportunities it's provided for me in my life. And then to get to see that for our kids, but then to have an avenue like this to be able to share it out. And maybe somebody stumbles upon this podcast that doesn't know what marching band is at all. And they're like, whoa, I had no idea about that. I didn't know this thing existed. It's, what did I hear on KUT, NPR? They have a segment where it's like, this thing that I'm really into or whatever. And it's essentially a segment that they do every once a week maybe. And it's like, I'm really into earthworm migration. And they'll have somebody on that's an expert in earthworm migration. And they'll talk about this extensively. And it's just somebody that doesn't know, an interviewer that doesn't necessarily know anything about it. But to hear somebody that's so passionate about this, share about that and light up when they talk about it. Yeah, I think everybody you've had on here wants to share because it is important to them. And so the willingness to share that excitement is just inherently fun.
Right. Yes, it has been fun.
It has been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. Yeah.
I've learned so much this year.
Okay, do you want to take the last one?
Yes. So we're winding it up and we want to give you a moment to brag about Westlake Band. Tell us something we should know and what we should be proud of as Westlake people.
Yeah, as a community, I think you have to realize that, the amount of time and energy and effort that kids put into an activity should always be commended and bragged about. When you look at, and you take football, you take volleyball, swim, any of these things, kids are pouring their heart into this. And, who am I to say that one thing is more important or bigger or better than the other? But I can say that our kids put that time, energy, effort in. I mean, last night is a perfect example. I'm going to brag on 4 or 5 of our kiddos that are Hill Country Middle School alums. I sent out a last minute thing and I said, hey, if you went to Hill Country and you want to come and be there to answer questions for parents that are going to have kids coming into high school band next year, just show up at 6:00. We had 8 kids there.
Nice.
And 2 of our current freshmen spoke eloquently and passionately to a room full of parent strangers that they didn't know. And I asked them to do that. I didn't give them a script. I didn't tell them what to say. I said, I want you to talk about band, your experience, what you've enjoyed this year and what you've learned. And these kids just knocked it out of the park.
Doesn't that make your heart happy when things like that happen? It's so amazing.
And one of the kids afterwards, he was like, I was so nervous. I was just shaking the whole time. And I was like, you got the audience to laugh and you had them in the palm of your hand. I wouldn't have known you were nervous. And I really think that band does that for kids. The arts, I mean, I'm going to, brag on the arts, but in particular, our band culture, what we've worked really hard and what Carrie worked really hard to cultivate for years, that's what is so special about this place. It's not a placement at the end of the season or a medal or a 4th place or a whatever. It's about the fact that these kids can walk out into the world and be great human beings, have had a time with their peers that they can think back on all these fond memories and these just things that bonded them together because they were a part of something bigger than themselves. That's what I brag on about our program and the kind of kids that we have. And I think our faculty, our administration, the people in the community, they see that. And when they see a band kid, I think they immediately think this is a great kid because I know that they're putting, hundreds and hundreds of hours of their time, willingly into something that is a bigger thing than just their own personal interest. So yeah, I'm proud of the kids. I'm proud of the season. I'm excited for what the future holds. I'm really, here we are talking as a colleague from band and from orchestra. I'm super excited for the fact that we get to do a 3rd symphony orchestra this year. I think that just makes the kids even stronger musicians, and the collaboration that has between our band and our orchestra department. It's special. And very few places have that. And we talk to the kids all the time about this, but they really trying to get them to understand just how special it is and how lucky they are to get to have something like this. And I think, for my time at Westwood and even a little time at Westlake, like the kids come back later and they go, oh my God, I didn't realize until I left and I went to, XYZ University where, the top orchestra there is like barely as good as our second orchestra here. I had no idea how good we had it. And I'm just so grateful. And I'm like, okay, done. I feel better. The job is worth it.
I had a choir rehearsal last night, a college choir.
Yeah.
And it was a piece that I'd only played the first two movements with Westlake when Ed was here with their choir. And so I'm like, oh, it's a college choir. It's going to be solid. It's going to be great. And I was like, whoa, I missed the Westlake choir.
Yeah, it's these kids just do so much at such a high level. And I think, they constantly surprise us. I hope that, if you ask one of them and you talk to them, I hope that they surprise themselves with what they're able to do. That's what you want, for them to feel good about it. So
I think we've had a successful marching season. A successful podcasting season.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
I think y'all knocked it out of the park this time.
Yeah.
Way more than we planned. Or way more than our 10 people.
That's true. But we did I think we exceeded our expectations because we had fun and we had so many people listening to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had people that wanted to talk to us.
I know.
We didn't have to beg anyone.
It's awesome. I think next year your challenge is you have to have your first out of state or like non-location interview where you've got to set it up over like Zoom or something and make all the technology.
So. We're going to learn. We're going to learn.
It's on the list.
We're
going to do it.
Aim big. We know like all the people that you've had to talk to. We know a lot of people. So if you want to talk to, band directors at a school,
we do
outside, let us know. We'll get you in touch with them.
We do. Yeah.
We have a list.
Awesome.
We do have a list going, so we're very excited about it.
A list. Are you on the list, listeners?
I can tell you right at the top of my list is Marcus Band.
I happen to know their director, Jeff, very, very well. So
but I really want to talk to the Mo and Jean Johnson folks because I loved their show.
Yeah,
also great
and I
people
love the
and great
Marcus
teachers
show,
and wonderful human beings. Yeah, both of those shows this year were really, really spectacular.
So our two favorite non-Westlake shows, we should talk to their people.
We need to.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right, everybody. So, listeners, I hope you've had as much fun as we've had on not just listening to today's podcast, but all season long. And again, if you have any questions, please email us. We would love to have some email, some connection with you. Yes, maybe some suggestions for who we should speak with next season. We would love that. So you can email us at fansoftheband.whs@yahoo.com. And I think that's a wrap for this episode. Woo. Thank you, Mr. Turpin.
My pleasure. Thanks, y'all.